At this time, I'd like to show you how you can create tests, quizzes, assignments, and everything else that you may use within your Schoology class. In order to add an assignment, quiz, or anything to a given class, all I'd have to do is go ahead and select the class I want to work in, select that class, and then you'll see it pop up, and then I go to Materials. Okay. Now I can, at this point, from this material section, I can select the different folders that I want to work in. But at this time, I'm just going to work in the general right here, and then I can drag and drop things as I see fit. So now I'm working on the given class. I go to Add Materials. Let's say I want to add an assignment. Okay. Let's name the assignment Homework Number 2. Down here in the description, I can tell them what the students need to do, give them the instructions, give them the question they might need to answer, any and all instructions that the student may need to have. Okay. Now, I would go to the due date, and let's say I want to have this due on, December 4th at, whatever time, and it's only going to be worth 10 points. Now you can see here categories. I showed in a previous video how to set up categories, and now you'll see those two categories that I set up are right here. Or I can keep it ungraded, but I do need to select one of these two categories for them to be added to my book. Okay. Again, numeric grading scale. All right. I can also select what period this goes into, but you can also see here that there will be no grading periods until this is set up by Schoology, again, after the new year. I can change the factor. Some of us I know like to do this where I'm going to make it out of 10, but it's actually going to be worth 20. You can change that here. Numeric number score. And here's a couple other things here too. Visible to student, obviously want to keep that. Submissions enabled. This is a really cute feature that I know a lot of people have questions about. Many teachers have questions. Well, what happens if it's a paper assignment, or what if it's something the students just turn in? How do I create that in my gradebook? You do it the exact same way that I'm doing it here. But you don't want your students to submit anything because it's paper. All you would have to do is unclick that box. That's it. Now your students have nothing to submit, but this will create the grading column for this assignment on your grade book. Now, if this is something that you do want them to submit, maybe questions or something along those lines, then you would want to select that. But that's all you'd have to do. Okay. Again, individually assigned, pretty self-explanatory. You can individually assign it to students. Align with learning objectives. We'll talk about learning objectives again once we get through Atlas a little bit more. You can lock it. This will prevent any changes. I don't suggest hitting lock because maybe you make a mistake. I know I make plenty of them when I make an assignment, and I don't want to lock it. I want to be able to come back and fix those mistakes if I do them. Student submissions, I already explained that. Visible to student, usually I want to keep this. But again, if you want to make these beforehand and not allow the students to see them until you're ready, all you would have to do is click that button to make it hidden, and then when you're ready for them to see it, there. Again, grading statistics. I wouldn't disable this because this is a nice feature of our gradebook, and if you disable this, you won't be able to see any averages or anything like that. And comments enabled. I usually keep this enabled because this will allow students to ask questions once this assignment is posted. And all I do is hit create. Now you can see here this assignment's been posted. It's in the general category, you could say, for this selection of class. And the students, you can see when it's due. You'll be able to click on this assignment and see the submissions, see if students have made any more comments on this. Over here on this section, you'll be able to see students that have made submissions. Again, if you did not set it up to allow for submissions, then you won't see any. Again, I'm going to head back now. Okay. Now let's say I want to change this and put this in a different folder. All I would do is hold down my cursor, put it over the top, and there you go. Now it's in folder 2, and I can close it up. So it's a nice way to organize our information. Once you've created your assignment, is that you're able to copy this assignment to other sections or other classes if it's a similar class. Now, when you create the assignment originally, there are some options, but unfortunately, because I only have one class, I can't show you how you can add it to other classes during the assignment creation. But what you can do now, or I can show you, is you can see here the little sprocket, I guess it's called. And you go ahead and click on this, and then you will see I can edit the assignment. I can go back to that same page. I can unpublish it, not allowing the students to see it anymore. I can move it to a different folder. I can move it to a different class, or I can copy it to another class, delete it, or save to resources. Now, I am going to show everyone how to use resources because it's an incredibly valuable tool within Schoology. But setting this to resources is really helpful as well too, and I'll show you guys how to do that. Now, the next thing I want to show you is how to create a test. It's very, very similar to adding an assignment. So let's say I want to create a test or quiz. Doesn't matter which one. I'm going to say test unit 1. Due date is going to be way off in advance. It's going to be out there. It's going to be worth 100 points. It's going to be my test category. It's going to be numeric. Again, grading period, can't set this now. Factor, all that kind of stuff. Now, this is a time where you might want to make it visible to students, but there are some other options that you can do within this system so the students don't do the test too early. But I'm going to keep it visible to students. I'm going to keep everything here individually, so I'm not going to keep that. I'm going to go ahead and create. Okay? Now you can see here that I can add questions, settings, and I'll go through all this for you. But that is the overall general way. I'll make a separate video how to do assessment, but just a general way. I can go now, I can add true and false questions, and I can have the students complete the assessment. Again, if you have any questions regarding tests, quizzes, or assignments, please just email me at kyle.clapper@montfort.org. Thanks again.